What if I told you that the path to, well, spiritual awakening could be found in the most intimate parts of your life? That's the powerful, maybe even provocative idea at the heart of Margot Anand's groundbreaking book, The Art of Sexual Ecstasy. And today, we're going to unpack its core teachings.
Okay, so let's dive right in. What we're doing here is distilling the key concepts from this really influential book. It's been a guide for so many people, helping them transform their understanding of intimacy by blending ancient tantric wisdom with a modern, totally accessible perspective.
You know, this quote right here, it gets to the absolute core of the message. It's all about a radical shift in how you see things, looking at sexuality not just as a physical act, but as a literal gateway to something much, much deeper. This idea of a portal, that's what we're really going to be exploring.
So to guide us, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll get clear on what Tantra actually is. Then we'll see why this whole journey has to begin with the heart. After that, we'll get into the transformative power of sexual energy, explore the rituals that make it sacred, and finally, look at how to bring it all together and work through any common barriers.
All right, first things first. What are we actually talking about when we say Tantra? It's a word that, let's be honest, often comes with a lot of baggage and some pretty big misconceptions. So let's clear the air.
So what is Tantra, really? Well, contrary to what you might have heard, it's not just about sex, not by a long shot. It's actually an ancient spiritual tradition from India that offers a truly holistic path to enlightenment. It's about integrating our sexual energy into our entire being, instead of just suppressing it or releasing it and moving on.
And these are the foundational principles, the building blocks of Tantra. The belief that everything is connected, the idea that you can transform sexual energy, that this is for everyone, no matter your background, and maybe most importantly, that the journey absolutely begins with an open heart. And you know what? That last point leads us perfectly into our next section.
So if an open heart is the entry point, it just makes sense that our journey starts right there. In Tantra, before you even think about any of the more advanced practices, the focus is squarely on the heart. It is the absolute foundation for everything else.
And here's the crucial point. You simply cannot have a true ecstatic connection without first building a rock-solid foundation of emotional safety. Genuine intimacy, it's not just about physical closeness. It's what happens when you allow yourself to be vulnerable and build unwavering trust with your partner. And here is a beautifully simple practice from the book to help cultivate that heart connection. It's called the soul gaze. This is so much more than just looking into someone's eyes. It's about synchronizing your breath, creating this space of pure presence together. And what's fascinating is that modern science actually backs this up. Prolonged eye contact can trigger the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which literally strengthens the connection between you.
Okay, so once that heart connection is established and getting stronger, then we can start to work with sexual energy. And in Tantra, this energy is seen as way more than just a biological drive. It's seen as a fundamental, creative life force. And this slide illustrates the shift in perspective perfectly. On the left, you've got the conventional view. Energy builds up toward one single goal, a physical release. But on the right, you see the tantric view, where the focus is on the entire process. It's all about cultivating, circulating, and channeling that energy to fuel connection and personal growth, not just to expend it.
The ultimate goal here is to awaken what's known as Kundalini energy. It's often visualized as this coiled serpent at the base of your spine. The whole practice is designed to guide this powerful energy upward through the 7 main energy centers, or chakras. Each one is linked to different parts of our being, from survival to love, all the way to spiritual insight. As that energy rises, it's said to purify and awaken these centers, leading to these higher states of consciousness.
Okay, so we've talked about the philosophy of connection and energy, but how does this all translate into, real life? This is where intentional rituals come in. They're what transform the theory into a lived, embodied experience.
And this really brings us to the central question of the practice. How do you elevate a physical encounter so that it becomes a sacred union? A kind of active meditation and mutual worship. How do you do that?
Well, the path to that sacred union involves several key elements. It's about consciously creating a space that feels special, free from distractions. It's about touching with intention and reverence, not just for pleasure. It's using your breath to create this powerful, energetic link, and using visualization to guide that energy. And really, at the heart of it all is this practice of seeing and truly honoring the divine spark in your partner.
I love this description of a specific ritual called Maithuna because it just captures the essence perfectly. It's not a race to a finish line. It's about a shared journey, about surfing the waves of energy together and exploring this vast landscape of intimacy that opens up when you finally let go of that one narrow goal.
Of course, this path isn't always easy. I mean, let's be real. We all carry baggage, psychological, emotional, and cultural barriers. So the final part of this journey is about consciously working to integrate these parts of ourselves and overcome the obstacles that stand in the way.
And this slide offers a really practical look at how Tantra addresses some of these common challenges. So for instance, with performance anxiety, the focus shifts completely from doing it right to simply being present in the moment. If you feel disconnected from your body, practices like yoga and conscious breathing can help you feel at home in yourself again. And for those heavy burdens of shame or guilt that so many of us carry around sexuality, Tantra offers this profound reframe to embrace your sexuality as a natural, sacred, and beautiful part of who you are.
So we'll end with this question for you to reflect on. Thinking beyond just the bedroom, what could change for you? In your relationships, in your relationship with yourself, if you started to approach intimacy as a practice that unites your body, your heart, and your spirit. That, right there, is the invitation at the core of the Art of Sexual Ecstasy.